This is a big reason why people are coming off of this clip and why it didn't end up going as viral as it should have. Is, okay, you met Jason. Who the hell is Jason? What's up? I'm Caleb, and I'm going to be breaking down 4 Shawn Ryan clips, okay? 2 good, 2 bad. Tell you exactly why they're good, what they might be struggling with, how to possibly improve them, and hopefully you can have some good takeaways for your content when you end up making clips, or if you're already making clips, find some good takeaways. My credentials, basically, I worked with Impulsive Podcast for the last 7 years now, grew it to a point where we have over 13 million followers across all social media platforms, as well as over 8 billion views, 6 billion in short form content, and then over probably around 2 billion in long form content. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to like a lot of short form content. That personally is my bread and butter. I actually had a basketball page that I grew from 0 to 50,000 followers in about a year and a half, and then didn't touch that page for a while, and then restarted it and then grew it to like another extra like 15K or so. So it's like my credentials within the short form space are definitely there, if you were wondering. Before we get into it, I have 2 free assets below in the description, as well as in the pinned comment, as well as my community for improving your podcast, improving your podcast clips. It's got everything that you could ever think of when it comes to improving podcast growth. So if you want to check out all that, that is in the description or in the pinned comment. But one of the first things I would like to say too is when it comes to clipping, you have to make sure that you're really honing in on the attention of somebody, because it's like when it comes to short form media nowadays, like there's no room for error. You have to make the best of the best clips if you want somebody to stick around for the whole time. So that's what I'm gonna be going through today. And you want to know the funniest part about this? I haven't even fully watched these clips all the way through. So I know that this one's good, this one's bad, but I don't know why they went bad yet, and I'm going to be dissecting that live in real time. So I think that's one of the coolest things. Other than that, let's get into start roasting them or praising them on some of the things that they've done pretty well. So let's start off with this first one. And with the first one, it got over 4 million views on Instagram and Shorts. So let's break down exactly why it might have gotten to that point. And what's going to be the easiest way to go through this is honestly just me playing through the whole video, and then we get into it. So let's start it.
You think that was an assassination attempt?
I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was. I was the first man in the stick. They gave us a 30-second sign. We're all hooked up, ready to go. The jump master's got his arm up, getting ready to hit me in the back. And then we see shuffling, and I'm only one of 12 guys that I jump with every time. It never deviated, no change. That was my team. A guy from the back shuffles his way to the front, and it's one of the escorts. He is unmistakable. At first, it just didn't connect with me. Gave him a, hey, how you doing? And he just winked at me. As soon as jump master's arm came up and the green light's getting ready to go off, no sooner than it hit and I felt his arm coming down, I feel something slap me in the side of the face, and it was a static line. And that man took off out of the aircraft. And when he did, it snapped my neck and it pulled me out upside down, deployed my combat gear. Long story short, at a complete oscillation, and I just smacked the ground, and I woke up a month later. Career's over.
You think that was an assassination attempt?
Wow. Okay. First off, I think if you're watching this clip, one of the best parts about it is the music behind it. You can obviously understand that it is a very fascinating soundtrack behind it. It helps keep the story from beginning to end. And this is one thing that I talk about a ton within my community, is the importance of making your clip centered around a story is one of the best parts for making a podcast clip. People underestimate the ability sometimes to be able to craft a story with something that is said within a podcast. And if you have somebody that has 6 stories, then you know you're going to get a ton of sick clips. But let's start off with like right at the start and why it worked. So let's go.
You think that was an assassination attempt?
I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was.
Now, boom, what that is doing right there is, do you think it was an assassination attempt? And without a shadow of a doubt, it was an assassination attempt. So what that is doing right there is you're starting with a question, one of the easiest ways to make a podcast clip, and then it's reinforcing right away that it was a assassination attempt by him answering the question. Now, what you might be thinking right there is, Caleb, he just opened and closed the loop within the first 5 seconds of the clip. But the reality of the statement is no, he didn't. He just opened the loop. He basically opened a loop, somewhat closed loop, and then reopened it again because somebody's going to want to listen to the whole story as we go on. And as you continue,
I was the first man in the stick.
as you continue to listen to this, so it's just like what I like to say is one of the most important things that you could do when it comes to making your podcast clips is this thing that I have coined. It's called scene switching. When you think about a movie, one of the most important things that you need to understand is that the director is trying to take you from A to Z. They're trying to take you from the very start of the movie to the very, very end of the movie. But yet every single scene leading up to that point is going to be leading up to that point. So you need to think about that when it comes to your clip as well. You need to think, I need to only keep in necessary information to get to the end. So what better way than right after the hook, they start getting into some B-roll of the scene switching, okay? So scene switching could be, okay, cool. We start with the host and then we get into the guest, and you're not staying on that person or that B-roll or that pop-up longer for 2 to 3 seconds. And as you could see throughout this whole duration of the rest of the clip, as he's getting within the story, tons of B-roll with him, and it is further progressing the story. So that's what gets your clip very, very viral for somebody who hasn't seen your podcast clip at all. And another thing that I definitely liked right at the start is you're able to see a ton of the just like these animations with the captions is so important. I'm not a huge fan of the trademark or whatever this is, the whatever you want to call it, but the captions are really engaging. Like, they're good. They're making somebody, if it's just like a boring static shot clip, then boom, those captions are going to further entice somebody. It's another way to introduce what I'm calling is this scene switching, which essentially, instead of just a straight up boring clip where there's nothing really going on, you have a scene switching every single time where B-roll is introduced, or a new person is talking, or maybe you're zooming into somebody. It's doing one of those things. And then the beautiful part about the whole rest of this clip, as it's continuing to go, you're able to actually be along through the story the whole time. You're able to, him talking about, okay, so he's getting hit in the face, and then, his arm is getting whatever. All of these different things is leading to that final payoff. And then as we go to this final payoff, you could see the last 10 seconds. Boom, let's get into it right here.
Took off out of the aircraft, and when he did, it snapped my neck and it pulled me out upside down, deployed my combat gear. Long story short, at a complete oscillation, and I just smacked the ground, and I woke up a month later. Career's over.
Boom, just like career's over. And that ends the story of the clip. Doesn't leave somebody off maybe on a cliffhanger, but gets somebody to comment. I mean, look at all these comments off to this right side, and let's see what people are saying in the comments, okay? So, thank you for your service. A jump master would never let that happen. They 100% try to take them out. It's just like all of these different things are sparking these engagement comments, and that is what you want at the end of your clip. You want your payoff to evoke some sort of emotion, so somebody goes to the comment section. All right, now let's get into the second clip. The second clip did not go extremely well, and let's check it out. Try and see why it might have not done too well, and then see if we can dissect it and give it some improvements.
Are you getting threats?
Yeah.
Got your little gift, Steve.
Well, thank you very much.
In case any of those threats get out of control, sounds like you just met Jason on your way down from Maine.
I did, yeah.
So Jason's my buddy over at SIG. We thought everything you're getting into, you gotta protect yourself, right? So that's the SIG P211 GTO. It's got their new optics line on there, the red dot.
Oh,
The
yeah.
thing is a machine. I'm actually shooting a competition with it this week. I never shoot competitions. Everybody gets one of these. Vigilance Elite gummy bears. Maybe you can put one of those in your boofing kit. Let me know how it goes.
I've actually got a funny story about the gummy bears, because the last time we recorded, I went back to my Airbnb, immediately get inundated with phone calls from a source who's like, you're not gonna believe this. It was a little bit before the election. Just a random woman had received 250 absentee ballots in an Amazon Prime package. Legitimate Maine absentee ballots. I stayed up until 3 a.m. working on that story to break it, and was powered by Vigilance Elite gummy bears. I was just crushing gummy bears and working on the story.
Are you
Okay, first thing that comes to mind is I love the head tracking that they were doing was it right around here? Look at how it's just like staying on his head. Boom. Keeping eyes kind of in the middle. This is kind of what you want. And it's like very engaging. So that's like another engagement tip, just in case you guys didn't really know that. But even with this, so let's start off right here. Like, first off, the hook isn't really that great. Okay. Cause it's just like, okay, I guess you could kind of say like it could be good because he's prompting up why he would be giving him a present. But the issue that happens is you have, okay, are you getting threats? Boom. Okay. Got you a little gift. Steve, thank you very much. In case any of these threats are getting out of control, that's once again redundancy. And then this is the big issue. This is probably, as we look into the analytics, I bet you this is a big reason why people are coming off of this clip and why it didn't end up going as viral as it should have. Is, okay, you met Jason. Who the hell is Jason? Who the hell is Jason? Like, if I don't know Shawn Ryan's show and he's talking about these insider people and you don't show like a pop-up of who Jason is, then that should be a part that's deleted. And once again, I mean, this podcast clip is 56 seconds long. Doesn't need to be 56 seconds. Could definitely cut it down to shorter. Cut these moments where either there isn't enough context or it's like an inside joke or inside information that the average person wouldn't be able to comprehend in a clip. So he actually did that, I'm pretty sure, twice. And so it's just like all this background stuff. Oh, you got to protect yourself again. He's repeating himself. And then finally gets into like him picking up the gun. First off, you go post something on YouTube and you got a gun on YouTube. It's probably not going to go too well. YouTube doesn't really love to see that type of stuff. So they might not push out that towards towards either your audience or potential YouTube audience. Secondly is, you don't have a close-up zoom in on the gun. So it's just like, that's kind of like low-key one of the biggest points in the thing. So why are you not on a better shot? So maybe try and implement a better shot for that. And get this, it took you 17 seconds to get to that point. So rather than you giving him the gun right at the start and then he gets the gun in 5 seconds, you got all this lead up that people don't really care about. They just want to see him pick up the gun probably. And what's the present that he's giving him? And then he gives him another present. Okay. And this is like, all right, like, cool. That's fine. But like after he gives him the present, you don't need this whole funny story about something else. If anything, you make this whole thing a whole separate clip because it's a whole separate thing. So keep it presents only and then end off. Like, I think it's probably fine ending off on maybe this line about the gummy bears. So keeping it on, oh, okay, I have a present for you. Show him the present, and on something small. But it doesn't need to be this 55-second clip where you're getting into side tangent stories of everything. I think there's good aspects of this in some ways because there's somewhat of an engaging hook, but this is the thing. If you don't engage somebody really, really hard for those first 10 seconds, then they don't care to be in the next 45 seconds or however long your clip is. So you can have a lot of the fundamentals down, but still just not creating the best story behind it and leaving in very redundant parts. And that can really disengage the viewer and take away the clip. So it's like this clip alone could be 35 seconds of just him giving gifts and then a slight background of why he is giving those gifts. But yeah, overall, like I probably would have clicked off. I probably wouldn't even have gotten to the gun part. So it's like I would have clicked off at like 6 seconds and that wouldn't have been good. Okay. So you got to think about that when you're, when you're making these podcast clips. Next, we're going to get into another one that didn't go too well. 73,000 views, and let's try and break down exactly maybe why this one didn't work.
Where's the FBI? Oh, the FBI's doing what they always do. Absolutely nothing.
The family's attorney wanted them to sign a NDA.
Yeah, they all do.
Saying that they'll never talk about how their kid was and
This is standard practice in personal injury law.
These are kids.
These are kids.
Hold on, just let me replay this. Pete Newman gets arrested. Then more of these people start falling. Then they reach out to all the victims and they try to make it sound like it was some other event that f***ed them up in the head. Mm-hmm. And then they convince them to sign an NDA saying that they'll never talk about how Pete Newman or anybody else at Camp Kanakuk was playing with their or their or shoving up their or dancing with them naked or playing basketball with them naked or putting them in Chinese massage parlors to give them so they can film it. And the defense attorney is having their client sign this. What the where's the FBI?
Okay. First off, it's good that he muted a lot of those swear words because like overly excessively swearing on YouTube and especially TikTok, as well as sometimes on Instagram, that is, that could hinder your content. I don't think the hook is bad at all. So
where's
mute this. So by him saying, where's the fucking FBI? And then, but like the issue is he's like answering his question right away. And he's kind of like, he is, in this case, it seems like closing the loop rather than introducing a story that he'd be able to tell. I know he does end up kind of telling a little bit more and explaining why, but then again, it hinders a little bit of the rest of the clip. But yeah, not too bad of a start, but yeah, let's start. Where's the effing FBI? Doing what they always do, absolutely fucking nothing. And then now he starts getting into all of this stuff. Now, the issue that I had with this whole clip is as I'm even scrolling through, boom, 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 any part is he has no B-roll for what is actually really being talked about. So something as simple as after those first 3 seconds or so, going into something with B-roll would be a lot more enticing. So by him saying, what's the FBI doing? What they always do, absolutely effing nothing. And then he says that the family's attorney wanted him to sign the NDA. This would be a good point to show him, to put a pop-up of the family, put the B-roll video of the family, and then and maybe even like put a little pop-up of an NDA. But it's good that he goes to then, the cutaway to the girl and then back to him. But this is where it kind of a little bit gets off the rails because he is now just saying all of these words that needs to be censored. And that puts the viewer in a weird predicament because he's like, I have to like really think hard on what this blurred word is. And that is taking away from my enjoyment of the clip. So too many swear words is taking away from this clip. And so if there is a way for the story to still work without putting as many swear words, then that's kind of the way that you should think about going. Or put in bleeps to maybe do swear words instead of just muted words. And that could kind of help get it across a little bit as well. But it's like, as you see, the clip going on, okay, cool. I love the pop-up captions. Like they're doing pretty well. But once again, a little bit too long of a clip. We got a 57-second clip when in reality, if you want to engage somebody the whole time in a 57-second clip, like you got to have pop-ups in there. You got to have more B-roll in there, something that's going to get somebody enticed to want to watch the whole rest of the clip. And I don't see that in here. So you need to make sure that you're having pop-ups. And even like he brought up NDAs a few times and he kept bringing up people. You need to be able to progress the story for the viewer by bringing in visuals for them to actually know. Otherwise, if they don't know these people, then they're not going to be able to actually create a connection with a clip and your clip isn't going to go viral. Overall, your thought process should be, how can I make this as simple of a clip as possible for somebody to follow? And a lot of the time, that means cutting the redundancy of clips, putting less swear words so people don't have to think, and then also just crafting an engaging story from beginning to end that gives you a sense of, oh, I know what the hell is going on. Now we have the last video. This video got over 2 million views on Shorts. I believe it might have gotten right around the same on Instagram. And let's see why it might have ended up doing so well. And maybe if there's a few things that we'd be able to improve.
We uncovered a lot of this 2 months ago with Ryan Montgomery. The day we released the episode, $6 billion off their stock.
Roblox is the one that I'll focus on the most because that seems like the majority of the issues right now.
I know little kids that use that game.
There's 75 million active daily users. They just banned a young guy who was actually groomed and had issues for himself on Roblox, who has a popular YouTube channel. He started catching predators on Roblox. There were 6 arrests. I saw 6 mugshots that came from this one guy. His name is Schlep. Roblox sent him a cease and desist letter for being a vigilante on their platform. They did a press release saying they're banning vigilantes from Roblox.
They want these people on there, and your children are on here, and I'm telling you, you better get them off. It is going to happen to you. What parent keeps their kid on there after we're telling them this? We uncovered a lot of this 2 months.
Wait. Okay, sorry. I was a little confused at the end because I was like, I thought he started this clip and he didn't have a hat on, and then he ends the clip with the hat on. So you got to be careful a little bit with that. You got to make sure that you're maintaining consistency. Okay, but back to this, very serious clip. First off, because it is a very serious clip, the music matches the vibe. I know I didn't go into crazy depth about this in a few of the starter clips, but he does a great job at what has already worked. Okay, he likes to talk about maybe a lot of conspiracy theories, and he starts getting into like the deep depths of stuff. Okay, well, if he's doing that, then we should continue to use the right music to attach himself to that. And if one clip has already gone viral for that type of music in the past, then it's pretty likely that your audience is going to continue to want to come back because of that, because of that music as well. So he did a great job with that. I think as well within the hook, you're able to see him starting off with an extremely bold statement. And Roblox obviously is a massive enterprise and so many people use it, massive app, whatever it is, gameplay. But the ability for him to make an extremely bold take at the start is one of the most, is a very underrated thing when it comes to podcast clips. So let's listen to this hook again. You're going to be able to see the bold statement.
We uncovered a lot of this 2 months ago with Ryan Montgomery. The day we released the episode, $6 billion off their stock.
Roblox is the one that I'll focus on.
So now you're like, well, how the hell did they get 6 million off their stock now? What is it? Like, what was going on? And so then this is where you start to see the beauty of everything. This is exactly what I was talking about that the other 2 clips didn't have, is B-roll that is explaining what was going on. So somebody who just like is like me, who, to be honest, I know I've heard about Roblox, but like I don't really care for the game, but I still know maybe what the game looks like. And by him putting
dollars
visual of Roblox right here while he's talking about it helps me out so much more, because I'm like, oh, okay, like this is the game they're talking about. Okay, cool. Now you start getting into all the gameplay, and when they talk about gameplay, they show gameplay. And then this is coming up right here is where when they start talking about all of the people that they're catching, and they say 6 arrests, it's like, boom, they got one, boom, they got one, boom, they got one, boom, they got one, showing every single time that somebody was pointed out and arrested for whatever, that they're talking about. And this is what the other clips were missing, is there was no storytelling with this. You were able to see, yes, once again, this is another 50+ second clip, but this time they're putting in B-roll and it's making it go a ton more viral. And a lot of the time too, it's what you condition your audience to like, whether it is the type of music, whether it's the type of content that you're making. That's one of the most important parts when making a clip. But so much of it is guiding them through the clip, as I was talking about on the last clip. So he did a great job showing the B-roll, starting with a very bold statement and enticing somebody to want to watch the whole clip with the music. So a few takeaways that I would say for you that you can definitely pull from any 4 of these clips is the importance of using B-roll, whether it's pop-ups, different types of animations, or maybe even videos and pictures. Next, making sure that your first 5 seconds are absolutely dialed in, whether it's a bold statement, whether you're asking a question, trying to open a curiosity loop. And then finally is, I would say, doing your best throughout the clip, taking somebody from A to Z, guiding them through it with the correct B-roll, boom, 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 until they're able to get to the payoff, and then you end on, once again, another bold statement or so. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, let me know what podcast maybe I should react to or give any thoughts on in the past or in the future. I guess I'm time traveling or something at this point. But yes, let me know with that. Obviously, the free assets are still down below. If you want to join my podcast community, that link is also below. And until next time, I'll see you. Make sure to subscribe. I know through a lot of CTAs, if you just do one, just make sure that your clips and your podcast continues to get better. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.